So they presented their answers there on the page that I'm sure everyone had a chance to read. And so for the conclusion, upon reviewing the same criteria that the Planning Commission must review, planning staff recommends approval for the proposed use as a boarding home for sheltered care. It should be noted that although the proposed driveway width exceeds the maximum width, it complies with the maximum percentage allowed in the front yard. If allowed, the expanded parking area will reduce impact on the street parking in the neighborhood without significantly impacting the curb appeal of the property. And I have the possible motion up there, and that concludes the presentation.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for our director?
I have one.
All right, go ahead.
Back to the parking area, what you mean by 23%? Does it meet the requirements? That parking
Yes,
lot,
it
looking at it,
the proposal does on the percentage, yes.
but it won't affect the ordinance of the adding that extra spot.
No, it meets the requirements on the percentage, and it'll be angled out to the front of the house.
And this is a conditional use, right?
Yes, it is.
For 1 year.
Yes, and that
That's what they're recommending.
that proposal can be whatever the Planning Commission recommends to the board. But that's what we are proposing, just so the city has a way to bring it back to us every year, just to make sure if there's anything that goes wrong on site, if there's anything that needs to be amended, we get a chance to review it.
That's all I have.
All right. Any other questions for the, all right, do we have the applicants here? Have you just come up and state your name and address for us? Your address. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for our applicant? Okay. My question is how many people are you planning on boarding in the facility?
This independent living facility, I really want to have veterans. So dealing with veterans, they like private rooms, so it only be like 3 minutes.
Okay.
I'm stuck. I want to ask the question. Can't get it out. Who gonna be monitor these? Who gonna monitor the facility that you have in the contract?
Because it is independent living, I'm not taking veterans that have to have medical assistance. They're able to monitor themselves. I have security cameras all through the house, set up all through the house, except for their rooms, for the private areas. So I'll just be monitoring outside, and then I make weekly home visits, make sure everything is going appropriately. And everybody has my number, and I have all of theirs.
Have you spoke with the neighbors next door? Let them know what kind of situation they're gonna be having at that home?
I haven't, but it was previously my home, so I have a good relationship with my neighbors. I don't think it would be a problem, but I can do that.
Any other questions? All right, I appreciate it. Thank you. At this time, we're going to open it up for public comment. All right, we're going to shut off the public comment. Okay, does any of the commissioners have any other questions? All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, go ahead.
After review of case number 2025-146, the Planning Commission recommends approval of a conditional use permit for a boarding home for sheltered care at 6735 Camelot Road in the R8 zone for a period of 1 year.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Question. Do we need to add 1 year?
It's
It's there.
It's already there.
Second.
Okay, we
Who
have a
will
motion
second?
and a second.
Go ahead.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Kirby? Nothing yet. Mark Crawford?
Yes.
Keita Fox?
Yes.
Calvin Freeman,
Yes.
Morris Taylor,
Yes.
Janice Vidal, yes. Stan Carroll,
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank y'all. All right, on to our next case number 2025-147. It's a rezoning of parcel number 108-932-000-0003603 from AR to PUD to allow for storage facility. And once again, I will turn this over to our director.
Thank you. This case is a request for the rezoning of the parcel along the east side of Highway 301 and south of the homes on Caroline Drive from the zoning of AR to PUD to allow for the development of a storage facility. The zoning use chart does not specifically list storage facilities as a land use, so it appeared to make the most sense to have a custom zoning to specifically allow for this use. And so I got the aerial view of the property up on the screen, and then the next image is the zoning of it. The property is currently zoned AR in its entirety. The surrounding properties to the west, north, and south are all AR as well. The properties to the east have PUD zoning, with the majority being approximately quarter-acre residential lots for single-family homes, with some townhomes as well. So for the review criteria on these kinds of cases, an applicant for amendment of the official zoning map shall have the responsibility to demonstrate the appropriateness of the change based on the following criteria: how the proposed amendment would conform to the comprehensive plan and its related elements, why the existing zone district classification of the property in question is inappropriate or improper, what major economic, physical, or social changes, if any, have occurred in the vicinity of the property in question that were not anticipated by the comprehensive plan and have substantially altered the basic character of the area, which make the proposed amendment to the zoning map appropriate, and demonstrate the public need for the proposed zone district amendment. So those are the criteria. The applicant responded to each of them, and I believe everyone has had the chance to review those criteria, responses by the applicant. I have the future land use map of the comprehensive plan posted up there, and for the planning staff comments, we have that the future land use map of the current comprehensive plan shows that this parcel should be medium density residential and not commercial. The applicant is requesting to change this zoning from residential to a PUD that would be commercial in nature. The current sentiment of the planning department is that this future land use map adopted in 2003 has become outdated and inadequate to serve the needs of 2025 for multiple reasons. The current shift in city planning practices around the nation is to allow for more clusters of commercial areas within cities, as this has been proven to be better for traffic congestion and overall access to businesses. The 2003 future land use map does not allow for enough commercial clusters around the city, so we do feel there is a need to change the zoning of many lots that were planned to be residential. As far as specific business type, the Planning Commission and Board of Aldermen will ultimately have to consider if the public need for storage is great enough to replace the residential zoning designation. And then we have the possible motion there, and that concludes the presentation.
All right, thank you. All right, do we have any questions for our director? All right, is the applicant here? Again, just state your name and address for us, please.
My name's Andy Richardson with R&H Engineering, 231 West Center Street, and I'm representing the applicant.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant or his representative? No questions? Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to open this up to public. All right, public time is over. We're going to close it. All right, do we have any other discussion, or do we have a motion? Yeah, go ahead.
I move with approve case number 2025-147, rezoning from AR to pub, parcel number 108-932-000-000-3603, with no address, Ward 6.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Oh,
I would like to request that for this possible motion, it be read exactly as it's on page 6, only for the specific clause at the very end that says, for the zoning designation to allow for the land use of storage facility, with it being zoned to PUD, the fact that it's a custom zone means that you have to specify
exactly what it's going to be used for.
what is in that zoning requirement. And so we wanted to keep it very simple, and have the zoning be for the land use of storage facility. That way, when the applicant comes back for the actual development drawings, it gives them more freedom to design it and then present it at a later time, in the way that they want it designed.
Okay. Do
Have everything introduced?
So, do you amend he's recommending to amend the motion to add the text from AR to PUD for the zoning designation to allow for the land use of storage facility. Do you want to amend yours to include that?
Yes.
Okay. So now we've got an amended motion. Do we have a second? Now we have a second.
Okay.
All right, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kirby Carter. Crawford. Mark? Mark, no? No. Okay. Lakita? No? Yes. Calvin Freeman?
Yes.
Maurice Taylor?
Yes.
Janice Vidal? No. Stan Carroll?
No.
Okay, motion. It's 4. Yeah, Mark, Akita, Carol, and me. So 4. 4-2.
So it did not pass.
So, no.
All right.
Motion denied.
So the motion to approve has been denied, so. All right, moving on to the next case number 2025-134. The site plan for expansion of an RV park at 5370 Goodman Road West. And I will, again, turn this over to our director.
Thank you. Hilltop RV Park LLC is requesting the city to approve 41 new RV parking pads as well as one office and pavilion structure. I have the aerial view of the property up on the screen in that yellow shape. So the parcel consists of approximately 25.7 acres with one driveway connecting to Goodman Road West. There is a neighborhood consisting of single-family homes that adjoins the west side and north side of this property. There will be another neighborhood of single-family homes built to the east of this property. And then I have the zoning up there. So this property is zoned AR. There are 2 homes with AR zoning directly to the southeast of this property. The existing neighborhood that wraps around this property and the future neighborhood that will be coming is zone PUD. And then on that page, I have 2 areas circled in blue. So the area on top is gonna be those RV parking pads, and that area circled at the bottom is gonna be that office pavilion structure. So I kind of jumped ahead there. So, all right, jump into the middle there. There is a natural stream that exists directly to the north of these proposed pads. The extra driveway and additional RV pads in the light gray coloring are not proposed at this time, but the applicant wishes to just show the future intent at a later time so that the currently proposed dead ends make sense for the reviewers. So you can kind of see those dead ends going up to that blue line, and then eventually they will come back and propose a connection. And I guess this will be kind of important for what's coming in the report. So the drawing above demonstrates that all the new RV pads will be approximately 50 feet away from the top of the stream bank. The planning department informed the applicant that the city intends to adopt a new stream buffer ordinance in the near future, and that MDEQ will soon require that all cities in Mississippi adopt this exact regulation for specific streams at a bare minimum. To avoid any future complications with the state of Mississippi, the applicant has agreed to follow this design standard. However, the planning department may adopt a tougher standard than the bare minimum that the state will require for certain streams. On that page right there, we have the rendering of the office structure. Shown above is the proposed new office and pavilion structure, as well as its new driving and parking area. The parking regulations in our ordinance require that all regular spaces at a 90-degree angle must be 10 feet wide by 18 feet deep. All handicapped spaces must be 12.5 feet wide by 20 feet deep. Since the parking aisle shown above has a handicapped spot mixed in the middle of the regular parking, it may make the most sense to have all the parking spaces be 20 feet deep instead of the 22 feet proposed. Additionally, since the ordinance requires all driveway for two-way traffic to be 24 feet wide, this would allow for the extra space needed since the drawing is showing a 22-foot wide driveway. We got the floor plan up there, and then we've also posted all of the elevations up on the screen. So there's the north elevation. It's going to be metal-sided, painted white. Then we have the west elevation facing the parking spaces. It calls for a green metal roof and pine posts. Then we have the east elevation. Drawing calls for a green roof, steel truss roof support, and pine posts. And then we have a 3D drawing in color showing what that would look like. Planning staff does not take issue with the proposed architecture of the building and pavilion. It is a unique structure that will serve a great need that is currently missing on site. Since this lot is technically zoned as residential and not commercial or industrial, this is not held to the requirement for brick or stone walls as the main architectural elements. The ordinance for architectural standards in residential zones is posted right there. So if anybody wants to look at the exact requirements, we can go back to that. And for the planning staff review, we have that planning staff reached out to the fire department for comment. There is currently insufficient water access for the fire department during the outbreak of any fire on the property. Even with the current residents and structures on site, there are no fire hydrants on the property. Fire hydrants will need to be installed based on the standards required in the fire code for public streets. Even though we understand these RVs are on a private driveway, this site is very unique in that although it is not technically a subdivision, due to it being one property with a private driveway, we believe we should enforce the design as we would for a real subdivision. The driveway leading from Goodman Road West must be widened to 24 feet wide. The new driveway area proposed for the 41 new pads will be 24 feet wide, which is what is required for driveways that are designed for two-way traffic. With that being said, all new driveways on site must also conform to this regulation, and the developer must make an effort to bring the non-compliant portions up to standard. Similarly, each spot that is to contain an RV must have a concrete pad, and that goes for the future ones and the existing ones. There are some areas on site that do not contain a concrete pad. The developer must make an effort to develop the rest of the site to the same design standards as what will be enforced for the 41 new concrete pads. Additionally, for the new pads and the existing pads, the fire department is needing each pad to get a unique number that is permanently fixed in some way to each individual site. This is so that it is easy for someone to make a 911 call that quickly identifies the specific location, and so that any emergency personnel can respond quickly to the correct spot. And for clarification, it's not a number attached to the RV, but a number attached to the site itself in front of the RV. On the next point, appropriate sewer infrastructure must also be installed. The developer should follow all requirements as stated by the Public Works Department on this matter, and we can have it to where this be a condition that they have to get approval through the Public Works Department on all sewer infrastructure and water infrastructure, sewer and water. So the fire department is also requesting that the developer add a second access road to the RV area in case of emergency, because the layout of the site may cause congestion during an emergency that may block ingress and egress of both the residents and emergency responders. The details of the alternate roadway design should be worked out with the fire department and followed as such. Planning staff feels that more information may be needed regarding the stability of the land, as there is a steep incline from the existing pads to the proposed project area. There is evidence of major erosion occurring, and we feel that this may continue and may potentially endanger the residents at the bottom of the hill as well as those on the edge at the top. Planning staff would like more information about the composition of the hillside and the extent of what erosion has occurred, as well as what has been done in the past to that hillside. We do not currently see any plans for stabilization in the submission, so we're assuming that this means there is no intention to physically alter the hillside anymore other than where the new driveways will go, but it appears that the land right there may continue to erode. We have in the conclusion that planning staff recommends approval if the applicant agrees to all conditions, requirements, and requests stated within this report, but the Planning Commission may add in more conditions or take out conditions or request further study on any of those points.
All right.
That concludes the presentation.
Thank you. Before I turn, so just a quick question, because one thing you didn't mention, I know that on other RV parks that we have in the city, that there's usually a limit on how long those RVs can stay on any given pad. I think it's like 90 days. It's like a 90-day limit. Do you know, can you confirm that?
In our review, we looked through the physical layout of everything, and we did not come across anything like that. So when it comes to those previous approvals, I'm not sure where that regulation came from. But we just looked at the physical design aspect of it rather than the how long the tenants would be there.
Okay, because my understanding of RV park is not for permanent residents. Is that correct?
I will let the applicant answer the intention of how those pads are going to be used, but they will be designed for RVs to be there, and they will pay rent to the landowner.
Okay. Does anybody have any
I
questions
have
for
a
the
question.
director?
I do.
All right, go ahead, Commissioner.
Have you reached out to the applicant about the stability of the property? And you're saying you are to prove it if all conditions are met. What conditions are these conditions you're talking about?
So I was referring to the fire hydrants needing to be installed per fire code, the water line going to those fire hydrants, of course, being big enough to supply the fire hydrants with
Okay.
water, for the appropriate sewer line infrastructure to be installed, and the second entrance and exit road to the RVs as opposed to the singular driveway. And the fact that each pad needs to have identification on its lot number. Even though these are not technically lots on an official plan, they need to be identified as a separate numbered location for the fire department and for the police department and for 911 in general. And so those were the specific conditions I was mentioning.
Yes.
But
Okay, go ahead.
the planning commission has the authority to request further study if it desires on ensuring that the hillside is completely stable. I'm not sure if anyone had a chance to go out on site, but maybe to answer your question, I have been on site. I've been on site with the fire inspector and fire chief, and however, the fire department is going to stick to what their authority is on enforcing the fire codes. And for me, I have no way of determining if land is stable or not stable, or what erosion mitigation techniques are appropriate. So, but the Planning Commission can request that our engineering consultant looks into this and makes that determination. So that's just kind of what I was thinking along those lines.
The thing is, you're still not addressing, if you say it's not stable, you guys should have done some sort of tests or something to verify the stability. So if it's not stable, it means that it's your job as planning director and whoever you, to make sure that the land itself meets the requirement before anything is done. Because it's in here that, there may be more information needed about the stability of the land, so there has to be a reason why this is here.
So I'm gonna make a suggestion. Is the applicant here? Can the applicant come up and we can address some of these with the applicant? So go ahead and state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name's Doug Baker. I'm with the ETI Corporation. Address is 1755 Linfield Road, Memphis.
Okay. Before we get I know that we have plenty of questions up here probably, but my question is I know that the property that's to the east of your proposal here is going to be a subdivision at some point, and I know that they've had to redesign it 3 times because of wetlands and everything. Have y'all done that study?
No, a
Okay.
wetland has not been studied.
Okay, because I just know that they went in there with a whole bunch of ideas and they've had to redo it a couple of times because of wetlands in that area and the different waterways that are there that were unknown at the time. So
Yeah,
that's,
we're-
I just wanted to make that statement. Anyway, does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
I have 2 questions. How wide the road gonna be driving into those parking pads?
I'm sorry, say that.
How, the width of the road gonna be driving to the parking pads?
The width of the road?
Right.
I think it's approximately about 20 feet. Currently? 20 feet. So I know the fire department's recommending 24.
In all the recommendations you've heard, is there any of these that you cannot, that you're concerned with?
Well, I just talked to the developers, the owners, and we would like to withhold till the next meeting this application and see if we can coordinate with the fire department, because I really would like to know where the secondary road that they would like to see put in as part of the safety. And that way we can, some of these conditions, we need to review again, the widening of the road and also the addition of probably the fire hydrants.
Okay, and are the RVs planned on being permanent, like a more permanent thing, or do y'all have a limit on how long they can stay?
The RV pads?
On the RVs that are coming into this area?
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is they're paid month by month by the people that are renting the space.
So they could be very well become a permanent place for them to live if they paid.
Kennedy? Yeah, I'm sorry. Some of these,
Okay.
I'm Daniel Kilsey, 11310 Cedar Point Cove, Hernando, Mississippi. Mr. Calvin, how are you doing? So we purchased this park a few years ago. A lot of the residents not only were born there, their parents were born there. And so we were changing it. It was a mobile home park before we took it over. It was in really, really poor condition, and we've made huge strides in changing it. I don't know if you guys had a chance to go look over the last couple of years. As far as a requirement for them to move lots after a certain amount of time, we have not issued that requirement. We have not been made aware of any requirement that they need to do that. If we need to, just let us know, and we can. But as of right now, most of our traffic is transient. So they come in, they do a job. Most of them come in for big projects, construction projects and the such. They may be here for a month, they may be here for 4 or 5 months, and then when they do leave, it's not usually one that goes, it's usually 5, 6, 7 that go. But I'd say right now, we probably got half long-term and half transient.
Okay. All right. So, y'all are wanting to table this for another meeting. Okay, so what I'm gonna ask the commissioner or anything, we can get with them, or do y'all have anything else that y'all would like for them to answer when they come back?
I want them to address the stability of the land, the incline, make sure that is a part of it.
The erosion part and the stability of the property. Oh,
So again, I'm Daniel. So to address the stability of the hill, that hillside, when we took it over, was in poor shape. We didn't realize how bad. And it was actually it was a negative vertical, if that makes sense. Essentially, instead of coming straight down, it was actually eating underneath the roadway.
Okay.
So we have gone through, we've added probably 600 to 700 ton of material and taken it to a 1-to-1. The nature of dirt work is if you don't have something in there to hold it together, even if you do, there's going to be some erosion that happens. And when that happens, you readdress it until it's addressed in long term. I do own a landscape company. We do drainage professionally, and we've been managing drainage for a very long time. We are working on the hillside. It is, to assuage your concerns, it is currently in good condition. Yes, there are areas that are eroded. They're small in comparison to the size of the hill. This hill is hundreds of feet long and probably 20, 30 feet tall. And yes, there are some areas, but it's minor. And as soon as we have the weather dry enough to get back in there, we will go back in and readdress those areas until we are completely certain that there won't be any additional erosion, while at the same time ensuring that if any erosion does occur, we will continue to maintain and correct it.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question as far as, this is the first of 2 planned phases for increase, and the first one is 41 spaces, correct?
Yes,
How much of a boom are you forecasting for construction in this area?
How much?
How much of a construction boom are you forecasting to want to increase this lot by that side for transit personnel who are coming in, as you stated, for construction jobs and things of that nature?
so you guys have seen the area. Y'all have seen DeSoto County. We've gotten to the point where housing is almost impossible to find in areas, in some areas it's a little easier, but as y'all can see, everything's moving west from here. There's not really anything else that we can develop 51 east from there. So we're going to assume that it's going to continue down the path that it's currently moving.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank y'all. So, Do we have a motion to table this for them to
I'll
do
make the
research? I
motion.
would recommend that we at least, that y'all look to see what the wetlands are and see if that's going to change anything that y'all have planned on that lot, based on what I've seen from the other developments in that area.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we got a motion to table. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a
Who
second.
was second? Mark?
All right, roll call.
Kirby? Mark?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Freeman?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Vidal? Yes. Carol?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, it has been tabled until our next meeting for the answers of the questions. All right, our next case is case number 2025-144, site plan for building expansion at 6500 East Center Street. And once again, we will give this to our staff and director.
Thank you. Memphis Recycling Services is requesting the city to approve 2 expansions of existing buildings on their property. So we got the aerial view right there, and then on the next page is the zoning. This parcel consists of approximately 7.5 acres with 1 driveway connecting to East Center Street. There is a cul-de-sac consisting of industrial businesses that adjoin the north side of the property and the west side of this property across the train tracks. There are 2 currently vacant lots to the south of the property that are also owned by the applicant. This property is zoned M1. All surrounding properties are also in the M1 zone. And so we have the locations in relation to the whole property right there outlined in blue. The image above shows the entire parcel with the 2 building additions outlined in blue. The drawing above, it's a more zoomed in drawing. It shows a more detailed view of the proposed building additions. Proposed building additions 1A and 1B will be 5,995 square feet and 3,020 square feet respectively. In the site plan, a 5-foot side yard setback is drawn with a thick dashed line. In the M1 zone, a 10-foot setback is required from adjoining property lines. However, the distance from the dashed line to the proposed building addition 1A and the property line appear to be equal, resulting in a 10-foot setback that meets the requirement for the M1 zone. At the time of the creation of this report, no drawings of building elevations have been provided by the applicant, but after that, we did receive them, and they meet the design criteria, which is to match the rest of the existing construction. And so in conclusion, planning staff believes that these building additions will have minimal visibility from the street and not impact any surrounding properties. The intent of the additions is to provide covered outdoor storage for existing operations on site, which will likely help enhance the cleanliness and security of the site as well as its overall image. Planning staff recommends approval of this site plan request. And that concludes the presentation.
All right, thank you. So, does anyone have any questions for our director? Okay, does the applicant here, if you'll just come up, give your name and address?
Live at 3381 Sherry Cove in Hernando.
All right, does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Apparently you're getting off light. That's good. All right.
Thank you.
All right, so do we have any other discussion or do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I motion the planning commission approves case number 2025-144, the request for the site plan as presented in this report by the applicant Memphis Recycling Services and Chance Walker of Smith Walker Engineering and surveyed on approximately 7.5 acres in the M1 zone at 6500 East Center Street.
All right, there's been a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I, Calvin Freeman, second.
All right, we have a second. Do we have any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Kirby Carter? Mark Crawford?
Yes.
Lakita Fox?
Yes.
Calvin Freeman?
Yes.
Maurice Taylor?
Yes.
Janice Vidal, yes. Stan Carl,
Yes.
Motion has been approved. Thank you. All right, on to our next case. Case number 2025-145 is a site plan for building expansion at 6441 Highway 51 North. And I will turn this back over to our director.
Thank you. EEP, which is Emergency Equipment Professionals, is requesting the city to approve a 1,250 square foot building expansion on their property to include 2 more garage doors and 1 regular door, which will face south toward the main building. So we have the aerial view of that property up on the screen. This parcel consists of approximately 2.4 acres with 1 driveway connecting to Highway 51. There is a cul-de-sac consisting of residential businesses that adjoin the south and west sides of the property and commercial properties across Highway 51. There's a vacant house to the north of the property. This property is zoned C4. Properties to the south and west are zoned R10. Properties to the north and east are zoned C4. And so we got the site plan details up on the screen there. If anybody wants to revisit any of that, just let me know. And here are, and go back up real quick just for clarification. In that top right part of the screen, the dark small rectangle is the location of the building addition, and then the light gray is what's existing. So it's just going to be an attachment of the same width, just extending out from that building. So on the next page, for some comments about that, we have that there will not be any additional paving on site, or any changes to the parking area, or any changes to the landscaping, or any changes to the drainage. The only change on site will be the expansion of the building in that northeast corner of the lot, which will add 1,250 square feet, being an addition of 25 feet by 50 feet. So I have the building elevations up there, and it will match the existing architecture of the building. The exterior walls and roof will be constructed of metal panels. This building material is consistent with what is currently present on site. And the proposal follows the ordinance on building additions, which is shown below. And I copy and pasted the exact wording from our ordinance, which basically says it has to match the existing construction of the building. So in conclusion, planning staff believes these building additions are acceptable as an addition to what currently exists on site. We do not think it would make sense to enforce a different architectural style to be built onto what was previously approved, as that may end up looking worse. We would rather have the entire building have the same overall design, and it does not negatively affect anything else on site. And so I have the possible motion there, and that concludes the presentation.
Thank you. Real quick, question for me is, I know that usually when you're adding building and you're adding more covered stuff, there's usually a ratio between that and the parking. And I know that they're taking up parking spots to do that 1,250 feet. Does the parking areas, does it still within code?
So technically, yes. Yes, it is fine.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Any questions for the director? All right. Is the applicant here? Yeah, if you. Just state your name and address, please.
Harry Guckert, 317 Westmoreland Circle, Batesville, Mississippi.
Does anybody have any questions for our applicant? Man, there's so many lucky people today. No questions. Okay, you're good to go. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any other discussion? All right, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
after reviewing case number 2025-145, the Planning Commission approved the request for the site plan as presented in its report by the applicant EEP, Emergency Equipment Professional, on approximately 2.4 acres in a C4 zone at 6441 Highway 51 North.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Kirby Carter. Mark Crawford.
Yes.
Keita Fox. Calvin Freeman.
Yes.
Maurice Taylor. Janice Vidal, yes. Stan Carroll.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank y'all. All right, our next and last case for the night, case number 2025-153. It's a site plan for parking expansion and building expansion at 5980 Nail Road West. And once again, I will turn this over to our director.
Thank you. Newlyweds Foods is requesting site plan approval for the expansion of their industrial wastewater system, as well as for the expansion of parking spaces. So we have the aerial view up on the screen. This parcel consists of approximately 30.26 acres. There will be two separate projects for the same facility. One will be the expansion of the parking that will be in front of the building, and the other will be for a small area to house an industrial wastewater system. But for the purposes of the Planning Commission, it being all on the same parcel for the same company, we've combined this all into one case. That way we can review all the regulations together. This property is zoned M1. The properties directly across the street are zoned M1 and PUD, whereas the PUDs consist of a storage facility and a gas station. Directly across the intersection is zoned R8. However, interestingly, that parcel contains a school. And then for the flood layers, we made sure to check that there is no concern for flooding within the project areas. The entire parcel is outside of any flood layers. So for the site plan details, I did a screenshot specifically for this expanded parking area. So what you're looking at in that those diagonal lines in the bottom of the screen, that's the existing building, and so just north of that is going to be the expanded parking area. And then in that next image, this is the technically the building expansion, and we can absolutely go back to the drawing if anyone has questions. I know there's a lot going on in there, but we can break it down if y'all want. And then there is a more detailed view of the enclosure that's going to be constructed as part of this expansion. And then if you're standing on the ground looking at the enclosure, this is what you will see. So if anyone wants to go back to any of those images, just let me know. So for the planning staff review, the first image on page 3 shows the plan for additional parking spaces to be added in front of the building along Nail Road West. The regular parking spaces conform to the requirement for length and width, as the proposed spaces are 10 feet wide and 20 feet deep. The requirement is 10 by 18. It appears that the handicap spaces need to be adjusted in width, though, as our ordinance on the matter requires them to be 12.5 by 20 feet. This proposal passes the requirement of needing a landscaped island after no more than 10 parking spaces. For the additional structure being built to contain and screen the industrial wastewater system, this will be built along the northeastern inner corner of the existing building. For your convenience, I have circled the area in yellow on the image below. The second drawing on page 3 shows the existing building line as a double slash mark behind a dotted line. The proposed enclosure area will be 48 feet by 27.33 feet and will consist of brick with metal accents with 2 regular doors and 1 coiling overhead door. This will be an acceptable architectural design to match the existing building. And so, just so everyone's clear, I went ahead and circled the spot over the aerial imagery of where this enclosure will be. So, in conclusion, planning staff recommends approval for both projects within this request on the condition that the proposed handicap spaces are adjusted to follow the city's design requirements. And I have the possible motion there, and that concludes the presentation.
All right, does anybody have any questions for our director?
I do. So the parking lot is gonna be in that grassy area facing Nail Road?
That is correct.
Is it the applicant come up and state your name and address?
Name's Ryan McDaniel. I'm project manager with A2H, 1308 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford.
All right, my first question would be on this wastewater treatment is, do y'all have a treatment center there now and y'all just wanting to expand it?
So, been working with Newlyweds for about 20 years. They had a requirement, the organics that are in there, some of the food products that are inside, when it washes down the drain, they were getting too many organics in the wastewater. So they have a temporary wastewater system in place that's collecting. Where it collects outside, they do their treatment, and then they send it back down to the municipal wastewater system, which is being tested and checked and all that sort of thing. So this project is to take that temporary equipment that's out there on the ground in that circle that you see on the screen, and enclose it in a dry building for them to be able to maintain and operate it, to clean that area up and take care of that equipment better.
Okay, all right. So anybody have any other questions for?
I'm back to what you were saying about the parking lot.
Yes, sir.
They gonna be exiting toward Nail Road, or they gonna come to the regular main entrance in?
So the intent is, if we wanted to go back to the layout, the current entrance that comes into Newlyweds Foods up in the front will be the same. We're basically, where the entrance comes in, we're connecting off of that entrance that goes to Nail. So we're not attaching to Nail with the parking. We're just coming off the existing parking area to go in front of the building. So,
But they still gonna do the same in and out?
still yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Billy, you can kind of, if you can zoom in, I don't know if that computer can do it. You, on the right, well, yeah, you can point there as well, but on that drawing, go back to the drawing. Are you able to zoom in on that? Oh, okay, well, it's up on that top left, yeah, right there.
So just off of the border on the left would be the existing entrance and exit from Nail into the Newlyweds Foods facility.
I was concerned about you want to be adding a new in and out exit.
Right.
When that train go down that road, and I have to look at it.
Right. No, sir. There's no change to the connection to Nail.
It'll be the same in and out exit.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, do we have any other discussion, or do we have a motion? All right,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead.
after reviewing case number 2025-153, the planning commission approved for the request by Ryan McDaniel of Alpha 2 Hotel Incorporated as A2H Incorporated for the site plan presented in the report at 5980 First Road on the condition that the proposed handicap space are adjacent to the following city design requirements.
All right, we got a motion with a condition of the handicap space to be adjusted to city design. Do we have a second? Second. All right, we have a second. Any other discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Kirby Carter, Mark Crawford,
Yes.
Fox. Yes. Calvin Freeman,
Yes.
Maurice Taylor,
Yes.
Janice Vidal, yes. Stan Carroll.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right, now we're on to other business. Do we have any reports from the staff?
No.
All right. Do we have any other questions, comments, or do we have a motion to adjourn?
Only comment I have back to that trailer park thing, I know nothing about lighting was mentioned. You look into that?
We can absolutely ask the applicant if they have any intentions to add any there. We can do that.
If they have no resistance, you I know we ain't saying about lighting, but we addressed the fire hydrant, but, and erosion, but no lighting.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Calvin Freeman, second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
I keep
Anybody opposed has the same right. All right, we are adjourned.